Welcome back to Real Pastors Review. My name's Gary. Good buddy
Um,
Efren right over there.
what's up?
And we are back with a review tonight. And not going to be as excited as we were last week, just to be honest with you guys. We are entering the Matrix once again.
hmm
It's been 20 years. It's been a long time since we've entered this virtual reality, science fiction, whatever you call it, non-real / real world. I don't know
Something
what you
like
call
that.
it. Something. But we got plugged in last night and
The
we saw
original
Matrix.
metaverse.
Yes, Matrix Resurrection last night. So here is our thoughts. Efren, we didn't really talk about this off the video or not, but is this going to be spoiler or non-spoiler? What do you think?
This will be non-spoiler. I think we can do it without having to do any spoilers.
Okay.
There's not much really to
Yeah.
to spoil, I guess. So
Mhm. Yeah.
let's put it this way: a lot of what happened in the movie, you kind of saw in the preview. So there's not a whole lot to spoil,
It's
like
really not.
in the trailers. I mean, there's
Yeah.
not really a whole lot to really worry about.
So when this was announced, I was like, okay, another Matrix movie. I like Keanu Reeves. I like. I love the first one. Didn't really care for sequels were you know,
hmm
but let's see what they do. This bringing us back into this world. And then the first trailer hit, and I was excited after the first trailer. I thought the trailer looked really great.
hmm
And then last night, what we got was I'll just go right into it. It was kind of a mess.
hmm
Kind of a
Yeah.
mess. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I thought this movie was it tried to do too much all at once in its first movie. And Gary, we were talking about this before we went live, and I was like, "What's that word? What's that word?" Because to me, I mean, yes, it was a sequel, but it wasn't necessarily a reboot. Because when I think of reboot, I think of hey, we're gonna redo this thing and take it in a new direction. Much like, speaking of last week, Spider-Man. You had Tobey Maguire. They rebooted it with Andrew Garfield. Rebooted it again with Tom Holland. That's a reboot. This didn't really do that. It was more of a sequel, but the word that you got for me is a relaunch. It really is like a relaunch of what we already knew about the Matrix. And I thought with this relaunch, they just did try to do too much. It was, I think they tried too hard to capture the original Matrix and just how it made you think and it made you ponder. And when the movie ended, it made you kind of feel like, wait, so is this real? Am I real? Am I part of a Matrix? It had you talking. And I think this tried way too hard to capture that again. And it ended up being a mess, like you said.
Yeah. So it had a really good premise. So it's how it starts off is very. I kind of got the idea that the Lana Wachowski, who made this,
hmm
30 minutes into the movie, I don't know if you felt this way, but I didn't feel this way about the cast or Keanu Reeves, but I kind
Right.
of felt like they didn't want to make this movie.
Mm.
This was a studio making this movie, and they even, not to spoil anything, they make a very on the nose,
hmm
meta is the word people say that I've been hearing all day, reference to the fact that there's going to be a fourth Matrix.
hmm
And I didn't, that took me out of the movie. And when that hit, I was like, the director did not, Lana Wachowski did not want to make this movie. And I
hmm
think it's evident as the movie goes on. But the issue I have with this movie is it had some really interesting ideas, some really good premises. And then
hmm
when it started to kind of go into those things, it moved on to something else.
Right.
And like the story of Neo and what he was up to, I was really into that. And
hmm
the question of, not a spoiler, but the question of what is real
hmm
and is he losing his mind? You
hmm
know, is he real? Is the things he's been through real? That's the question he's answering. And I wanted him to stay and explore that a lot more. I thought that would have been a much better movie. And then they went on to something else. And
hmm
it was the word we used last night after the movie was convoluted. And
Yeah.
then it was like, here's something else. And you don't need that much exposition, but there was very little, in my opinion. And it was just like, I told you this last night. I was 3 scenes behind when they were moving on to something else, trying to figure out what they were talking about over there, you know?
Yeah.
And so it was just like, I don't need everything spoon fed to me, but explain something to me, you know?
hmm
And there was a good idea but poor execution, I think.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I thought a lot of this movie, I was like, man, this is like really good concepts. These are some really good ideas. I like the direction that they're going with this, and then they would abandon that cool idea, or they because there's like the story has got to move on. Like we got to keep going. This movie does start off with some new characters, and you're just kind of like, all right, here's these new characters. Like this is kind of cool. You're trying to get back into the world and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you have to be reintroduced. It's been so long since the last Matrix. Like, so I'm okay with all that kind of stuff. And like you said, like what you see in the trailers is that Neo is like back in the Matrix and he's trying to figure out what's going on again. Like he's still Neo, but like he's back in it and what's going on there. So like that whole thing, like what you're saying, was really cool. And I like that. And there's two other things that we talked about last night, Gary, that I'll kind of just leave out just so they can have some surprise. But it was just like, whoa, if you guys would like go into further about that,
Yeah.
this would have been a much better movie. Honestly, that's a totally different movie you could have done. And it would have been awesome. Like, honestly, it felt a lot like they wanted to completely set up the new trilogy all in one movie. And when you do that, it always becomes a mess. It always becomes way too much. Just tell the story you need to tell in one sitting, and then you can move on and build on top of that. And I just thought they tried to do too much. And the thing is, it's like there's a lot of cool stuff in this movie. There's a lot of cool scenes. There's a couple cool characters that I really liked. I mean, like I'll just go ahead and throw this up here. Probably two of the best parts of the whole movie, right there, Keanu Reeves and I forget the actress's name, but the one who plays Trinity, Carrie Ann Moss. There we go.
Trinity.
Them two were honestly the two best parts of this movie.
Indeed, yeah.
They did a great job, and I love that to me they came in and it was like, yes, we are Neo and Trinity. Here we are, and I loved it. I thought it was great, and I thought they were awesome. I thought Neil Patrick Harris, and I'll bring up a picture of him in a second, but I thought he was great. So
He was my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
And I think we might I watched other reviews today and last night, and I think we might be in the minority of that. But I thought his character added a very fresh tone to this world. And anytime he showed up on screen, I thought he just nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, 'cause that's the thing, because like the Matrix did have this whole like you said, definitely a certain set of tone, right? And like, but with the way this movie played out, and with why Neil Patrick Harris, his character exists, which he's like why that happens to me is just kind of like, okay, I like it, and the reason why this whole movie has a different tone is because of a lot of what's going on with that, and I'm just like, okay, so like that's why I was on board. Maybe that's why we appreciated it more, because they were trying to do something a little bit different with it. But like this is partly like, other than those three, like everything else was just kind of like, but those three were in it, and I liked it. But other than that, I just didn't really care for much what they were doing.
Somewhere in there's a good movie, but
A really good movie.
Yeah, how it was put together, how it was paced, how it was edited, or whatever. I don't know what you want to call it. And then you mix with the constant meta, remember this, there's one scene that is literally a remake of the first scene of the original movie, and you're just in a bad way, you're thinking, what is going on? Sometimes that is good in a movie to think, what is going on? Like, but in my opinion, it was in a bad way for this movie. Like, what? Because nothing was set up properly at all.
Right.
And like I said, like somewhere in there is a good movie. Keanu Reeves, it was good to see him back as Neo. Trinity was great. Them on screen was really good. There's a scene with all three of them, Neil Patrick Harris, that I thought was one of the best scenes in the movie. I will say I would have liked to see Keanu Reeves do a little bit more besides this.
Right.
That was one of the coolest shots from the second one, but it was kind of like, it's like, hey, you're John Wick. You do crazy action stuff. Do something besides, and so that was kind of like, all right, but yeah, but like I said, the word that comes out, this is not an awful movie. It's not, but it's not good, if that makes any sense. I was pretty let down by it, and the word I kept coming away with is convoluted.
Yeah, I know. Like this picture I have up here of these two that you guys are seeing. Like I said, to me, the two best parts of the movie. I thought Neil Patrick Harris was great. I mean, there's this, like even this picture of him, and just so people can kind of like get a sense, because you don't get a sense of him, in the during the trailers, but like just like his presence, right? Like if you look at that, it's pretty menacing. And like even you, Gary, last night were like, man, if he would have played the Riddler, like he would be
But yeah,
so
I can't
good.
take credit for that. That was your idea years ago, though. It's
That's
like,
I guess that's true, but still,
yeah,
yeah. But it's just like, but you reminded us of it, and it's just like,
yeah,
yes, like he can. I mean, even in this picture, it's like, look how menacing he looks. Like you know he's up to something, right?
yeah.
And it's just, and so like you have these actors playing these characters that honestly, like I said, with him and Neo and Trinity, they were to me very interesting characters. I wanted to know more about them. Honestly, if they would have focused just on them three, I think this would have been a much better movie instead of doing all the extra stuff. I thought they introduced us to certain aspects of this world too early. They should have left it for a second movie, and with some other actors that or actresses that came back, Gary. So I think you know what I'm talking about. And even that whole part of that world is just kind of like, if you would have saved that for a different movie, you could have told a great story with that. So that's the thing. It's like it's so much promise, right? So much promise, so much great things that were in this movie. They just didn't mesh it well to make a great movie.
I think if they would have stayed, it's no secret. The third Matrix movie, Neo dies. He sacrifices himself for peace. So the question over
Well, and
this movie
Trinity, yeah,
yeah, and Trent, and the question is, well, how are they back?
yeah,
And I thought a much better movie would be spend a chunk of it exploring how they're back,
yeah,
and then reveal that, and then go forward to the other stuff. Instead of a little bit here, a little bit here. Is he crazy, or is this real? Is it wait now we're over here? What, So yeah, yeah. So yeah, but
yeah.
it's like I said. Don't take our word for it. Go see it. You know, there is some good in there. Maybe other people will like it more than we did. But there's definitely more bad than good. I don't know. I haven't decided if I might watch it again just to be sure. To try to find that goodness in it or whatever. But right now I'm just kind of like, okay, I don't care if I ever see this again. And honestly, I don't care if they make another Matrix movie after this.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty rough, and I think they need to, like to me, it's like, all right, just kind of leave it here. It kind of ended in a way where if they just left it and didn't touch it again, then it could kind of work, I guess, in the 4 Matrix movies. Just kind of leave it and let it lie. I don't know how much money this thing's going to make, so it's a very good chance Warner Brothers looks at this and it's like, okay, we screwed up. People aren't going to watch another. Like, we're done. We're going to have to let it go, and just let it be. And I'm okay with that.
Question for you. 2 questions. I'm gonna get your thoughts on this. Do you think this movie would have served better as just a flat out reboot of The Matrix than what we got? Do you think it would have been better to just bring in new characters? Do you think it would have been better suited? Because I heard some people say around, other channels that The Matrix is a perfect universe to be set up for a reboot. Do you think it would have been better served just doing that?
I don't know, man. Because to me, like, if you're going to reboot something like The Matrix, I just don't know if you could do it well. Yeah. Like, if you're going to actually, like, reboot it with brand new characters. Unless you're going to give it the Ghostbusters Afterlife treatment, where it was kind of like a reboot, right? Like, but that was more of a relaunch, I guess.
Yeah.
But to where you have new characters, but you're still gonna have to service the original properly, and so it's just like, but for me, that's what I'm saying. I don't know, because I don't know if it would make sense, to like continue this story without like Neo or Trinity, because they were just so integral part of the original story. I don't know if they could pull it off. I mean, I guess you could, but you got to find someone else who is who is Morpheus like. I mean, I guess they kind of did it. They had this new
Yeah,
set of characters, but
I was
you
gonna say
needed.
I did not like the Morpheus in this movie.
Nah, it was weird. It was
I didn't get it. I didn't understand how he was who he was. I just yeah, I didn't like that at all.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, so instead of bringing that character back, you should have just
mhm.
had someone else be that type of character,
Yeah,
because you kind of rebooted the rest of the cast.
yeah,
From the original, you kind of rebooted all them anyways.
hmm
So like, you should have had the same with Morpheus, and you should have had someone else who was Neo esque, I guess,
yeah,
or someone else who could
yeah.
kind of take on that mantle. Like, is there this new one? But then
So what
again,
you're saying
but it
is
doesn't make sense
rebooted,
though.
but Chris Pratt is in the Keanu Reeves role, or Dwayne Johnson.
Sure,
You know,
sure. Like, but even then, it's like it wouldn't make sense because Neo
it
was
wouldn't.
the one. It has to
Yeah.
be
Oh,
Neo.
here we go.
So I
We
don't know,
need
man.
a new Matrix reboot. Here we go, and this is where I'm losing it. I'm sorry. Where Kevin Hart is Neo and Dwayne Johnson is Morpheus.
Oh gosh, that might be a better movie than what we've got, honestly.
Hey, I hear
Make it a
Kevin Hart's
comedy.
serious movie on Netflix is pretty good. I hear he's got some drama chops. So we'll see what he can do.
Oh dear heavens.
My second question, and I mentioned this a little bit last night, and I want to comment along on this because this is a question I'm very interested in, and we're going to
Hmm.
explore this in other videos. Does the Matrix fall where a lot of other franchises fall, where the first one is so good that the rest of the movies are just trying to make it better, and they just can never live up to the hype that the first one do? Do you think the Matrix falls into that? Because I think it does.
I think it does. I think part of it, because it's the second and third one, I think they got too high on themselves.
Hmm
And like, they were just like, oh, we made this great, like, thriller and mind,
Yeah,
thing. And then we had people thinking, how can we top it? How can we top it? Sequelitis.
yeah,
And it just deteriorated. And this one just continued. I mean, this one's on track like Alien and Terminator. Granted, Terminator got two good ones.
yeah.
I mean, this
So did Alien.
Aliens,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah,
Yeah, Aliens was pretty good.
hmm
Aliens was pretty good. Beyond that, you
yeah.
know,
No, it's, yeah,
yeah. I mean, so like at least they made it two.
yeah,
Um, a Predator, same thing. Like I don't mind
hmm
the second Predator, but the first one will be a classic as
yep,
always.
yep,
I do. I think this falls in that same category of those kind of classic movies where they did such a good job with the original. A couple of them got a good second, but for the
yeah.
most part, you just can't
Well,
capture that same magic.
the original Matrix was not only I think, and I'm recently rewatched it for the first time in a long time, and I told you this the other night. Like, I think it's probably a perfect movie.
Hmm.
It is just so good, and it not only was it got movie people talking into the theaters, but it became a pop culture phenomenon. It was
Yeah.
everywhere,
Hmm.
and I really
Parodied
do.
like
I think that
crazy.
do what?
It was parodied like crazy by
Oh yeah,
everybody. Yeah, like
oh yeah.
everything.
Some of the funniest MTV award spoofs of all time were the Matrix
Hmm.
ones. But yeah, I really do. I think, and I thought this last night. I was like, they're trying to capture that original magic, and it's going to be really hard to do.
Yeah,
It really is. So,
yeah.
but
It's gonna be super hard. I don't think. I know it's just like I just don't think they can do it. I just at this point just let it lie. You got one more out there. You got um you got him back, but I don't know if you're gonna get him back after this, man. Like this is
no,
I just see it tanking. I don't see it working.
we didn't really. And I left the theater last night. I was like, it's got some good stuff, but I didn't need that. I
Yeah.
need that. So I think people see where we're going with it. But you want to rate it? You ready to rate this thing?
Yeah, I'm ready to rate it. Last night I was on the fence where to go with it because it was. I think I was more on the fence because it's like I don't want to give it the rating I think I know it deserves, and I think that's really what it was because I wanted to like this so much, and I wanted this to be another great installment, and I wanted to look forward to future movies, but I just can't. There just wasn't enough there, and unfortunately, this reminded me a whole lot of when I think about it of Wonder Woman 84.
Oh,
And
yeah,
so, and
that's
that's why,
good. Yeah,
yeah, and that's why just like I just can't. So for me, this thing just gets 2 out of 5 Hail Marys, and that's like it wasn't a one to where it's absolutely terrible.
no,
Like I don't think it's unwatchable, but I think it's you can watch it once and be done. Like if it's on TV or something.
yeah, and yeah, might as well leave the two up there. I was
All right.
really wanting to give it a 3, that solid shelf rating of on the shelf. But the more I thought about it, and I can't. I'll be honest, this will not be on the shelf. This won't get the steelbook treatment. And I hate saying that because I wanted the same feeling as I leaving the theater last night that I had when I went and saw The Force Awakens a little bit, like
Right.
bringing us back into this world. What's next, you know? And it was the complete opposite. It was more like, okay, we're done with that now.
Yeah.
It can go in the same category as the Terminator movies now.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. And you just leave it at that.
yeah. So, yeah, I missed the mark. And honestly, I don't feel bad saying that because I'm speculating. I don't think the director wanted to make this movie either. It was out of necessity, I guess.
Maybe some kind of contract or something.
Probably.
Because
And
if that,
it's in the movie saying that. So,
yeah,
you know.
which it could have been the same with Keanu Reeves and stuff. But and that's what kills me. It's like you had so much potential within this movie that I saw. I was like, that's awesome. And like you said, they walked away from it. No. Stay there a little longer. Like,
Stay there.
This literally was probably, I mean, I wonder, do you think maybe there's a longer version of this somewhere? Like a little Snyder cut thing where that might have made all this made sense? Or do you think, no, this is the movie they made just to get it done?
I think it's the movie they made just to get it done.
Yeah.
Because I nowhere did I get a glimpse of this is someone's passion project.
Yeah.
This is a money grab on the name of the Matrix. And, you know.
Yeah.
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 That's just our opinion. This is all subjective. Check it out. It is on HBO Max. You know, if you want to go to the theater and see it, absolutely. But if you have
Probably-
HBO Max, you can also stream it on there.
I told you last night, Gary, I could have watched this on HBO Max and would have been perfectly fine. Because there was no spectacle like the original Matrix. There was shaky cam. Like, it was just terrible.
That's another thing.
Oh, man.
It just didn't feel the only time
It didn't feel like the
felt
Matrix.
like special was when you look at the graphic behind us there when it started and it was the number song. Oh, here we go again. But that was it. It was no.
It didn't feel like the Matrix. It didn't look like the Matrix. There was nothing in it that felt Matrixy other than the names and Neo.
Yeah.
Like that's all you had.
And somebody said earlier, I can't remember what video it was, but said this was like a fan film of the Matrix. And I think that is a tad harsh, but I do think that is true. But I got to give credit to Dan Merle. He's one of my favorite YouTubers out there. But he said this was a meta commentary on the franchise, a reboot, and a sequel all mixed up into one movie, and it created a convoluted mess. I do think the relaunch word is better than reboot. I will give you that. But I just thought that was just perfectly explained why this was. We had the problems we had with it. So.
Yeah, I mean, really, with the way they did it, they should have made this a 4-hour movie to like explore everything properly, and they probably would have had a great movie on their hands. Or just tell one stinking story. Don't try to tell 5 at once. And I don't know, either way, we could keep going.
Or you could just go back and just say, "Hey, remember that really, really great masterpiece of one movie we made where Neo saved the world from the robots? That was cool."
Yeah, I know. I'm saying, man, like
we don't need all this stuff.
And I think maybe those watching, maybe you guys already see where we both are. We wanted this movie to be good so bad. We wanted it to be good, but it wasn't.
Yeah. I want to sit here and I wish I was sitting here saying, what are they going to do next? And I'm sitting here thinking, oh, gosh, I hope they don't do anything next. I'm done.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. 2 Hail Marys. That's all we can give it. Yeah. It isn't complete, unwatchable garbage.
Longer than our Spider-Man No Way Home video of last week.
Because we're so upset. That's why. That's why.
Jeez Louise. Well, thanks for watching, folks. And subscribe, hit the like button. You know what to do. Comment below. And probably won't see you before. Have a Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yep. Have a Merry Christmas. And hopefully we'll have a video for you next week.
Yes, we are working on our top movies of the year. And don't look for Matrix Resurrection on that list.
It will not be there.
No. So.
Unfortunately.
All right. Peace out, homies.
All right. See you, everybody. Have a good night.